Down the stretch they come, and you're watching Smart Remarks. So the scapegoating has already begun. As the presidential race comes down to the wire and the Republican team of John McCain and Sarah Palin continue to lag behind in the polls, the candidates' advisors have begun taking potshots at one another, each side blaming the other for the ticket's troubles. In recent days, McCain advisors off the record have called Sarah Palin a diva and a whack job. We've been saying the same thing for weeks. But if this is the case, writes Roger Simon at thepolitico.com, who's responsible for putting this whack job on the ticket in the first place? Here you have John McCain's first and perhaps most important presidential level decision, and he picks a whack job whom even his advisors now admit have almost a zero grasp of foreign policy and other major issues. As for Palin herself, she's said to be furious about stories of the $150,000 wardrobe purchased for her, and she's decided to go rogue in recent weeks, saying things that haven't officially been approved by the McCain campaign. Observers suggest that she's trying to position herself now for what comes after the campaign if she and McCain lose. And the reality is here that Sarah Palin is ambitious, every bit as ambitious as the Clintons. This race has been her opportunity to vault beyond Alaska politics and into the national spotlight to the head of the National Republican Party. Some conservative pundits have even said they'd like to see her at the top of the GOP ticket in 2012. Oh, please, please, please.
What insight into Russian actions, particularly in the last couple of weeks, does the proximity of this state give you?
They're our next-door neighbors.
And so while this race has narrowed slightly over the course of the past week, the reality is that if McCain and Palin actually win this thing, it will be a miracle. This campaign has been a disaster, from Palin's winking, to the crazed supporters at the rallies, to Palin's wardrobe, to the desperate embrace of Joe the plumber, to the woman who scratched the backward B in her cheek, and now all this sniping even as the campaign heads into the final stretch. But this is a ticket emblematic of the Republican Party itself. Disorganized and demoralized, searching desperately for a coherent measure, throwing every last handful of primordial ooze at the wall and praying that something sticks. Well, nothing has stuck with the exception of the impression that this campaign is a disaster. And you got to ask yourself, if that's how these folks run a campaign, how would they run the country?